Hey guys, it's Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy, and this is our weekly market recap for the week ending April the 24th. Last week started with Packers continuing to insist that they were well sold. A result of that was offer lists that for the most part appeared as if they were unchanged with the week prior. The only noticeable change on offer list were for the most part asking prices were steady, although one of the big Packers was reported to have continuing to appear if they were in a bullish sentiment and raised their prices by $2 to $3. As far as interest last week, it definitely the number of people resisting the market is increasing. The bids last week were not anywhere close to where they were last week. Not that anyone was saying last week was a busy week of trading. Certainly more difficult for the Packers to conclude business at the prices they wanted as opposed to, say, a month ago where you put out an offer list and within the hour, everything on your list was sold. So a lot more resistance out there from the buyers this week. Doesn't mean that, any of the Packers were forced to take anything less than asking. They continue to insist on full asking prices, but certainly not enough hides sold last week, especially not with the knock that we saw, and we'll talk about that in just a second. On the cow hides, kind of a similar story. Producers continuing to insist they're well sold. Offer list not really changed from the week prior. Asking prices unchanged, steady with the week prior. As far as interest, it mirrored the big Packer trade. There wasn't as many bids out there. However, what was different about the cowhide trade was a lot of the producers appeared as if they were willing to listen to the bids and price ideas of buyers. That said, there was some back and forth as to whether or not, how much prices were lower. For the most part, $1 down, but definitely a little bit lower prices traded on that cowhide market. We referenced the knock. It came in at 665,000. That's ties the second largest of the year. It was 640,000 last week. Last year, 470. For those of you who follow my blog, I've been talking about how we are going to continue to exceed levels of a year ago. We started the month down almost 300,000 head. Mark my words, by the time we get to June, you're going to see numbers this year somewhere at least 700 to 750,000 head higher than where we were the same time in June last year. That's going to be about 1 million more animals killed. I know a lot of you keep talking about, the kills down in Brazil, Ken. The kills down in Australia, Ken. It is. But with 1 million more here in the States, leather business, yes, better than a year ago, but it's not as good as what people have been saying it is. And that's why people are running into resistance right now. Let's take a quick trip around the globe. Our friends over in Europe report a very similar situation as to the States. They're struggling to try to push prices higher. The entire trade, for the most part, is on pins and needles, waiting to see what abattoir prices are going to be for the month of May. Of course, abattoirs are known for always wanting to push prices higher. We have heard some indications that they may be willing to leave prices alone. That said, it certainly is appearing as if that, it's getting harder to sell hides over there as well. Cow hides are really taking it on the chin in Europe because of the situation going on in northern China with the upholstery tanners in Hebei hampered by pollution issues, which has the government restricting water and electricity to these tanneries. So soaking levels are down there, and that's why these cows are under pressure. As far as down in Brazil, as I mentioned, harvest numbers are lower than, continue at low levels, I should say. They're off about a third versus a year ago. That's allowing, big packers to hold fresh prices steady. On wet blue prices, because of the problems in Hebei, there are some inclinations of some maybe 5 cents lower on TR1s, although the producers will tell you, no, we're getting steady levels. But reliable sources are telling me that there's a number of producers going around and asking potential buyers what their ideas might be. So there are some signs of things cracking there as well. We go over to Australia. Low kill levels, strong sold forward positions by producers. That's kept that market fully steady. I know there's been attempts to knock it down. Nobody's following it lower. However, with the tone appearing as things might be getting a little softer in the United States, Europe, and Brazil, it wouldn't be surprising if some of the people in Australia didn't have to be at least more willing to listen to some of the ideas that are out there. So, one final thing that I glazed over in the States was the export report. My apologies on that one, but we can catch up real quick. Wet salted sales, call it round up 360,000. That's about almost 100,000 better than last week. That was a little unexpected, to be very honest with you. Shipments remain miserable, 380,000. That's down about 20 from the week prior. Sales of wet blue remain anemic at 72,000, although that is just maybe 10,000 higher than the week prior. Shipments of wet blue at 136. So collective average, combined sales 430, combined shipments 515. That's not catching anybody's attention. Remember that kill is at 640. We continue the trend where shipments are lagging the harvest. Sales have been lagging the harvest the last 3 weeks in a row. This thing looks like it's starting to stack up a little bit on the guy selling. I think that's going to result in some possibility of lower prices, I should say. And certainly appears as if there may be some storm clouds brewing on the horizon. So that's it for this week. Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. You have any interest in the reports that I offer, go out to my website, www.themaxfieldreport.com. Look for that button, request a free sample. Happy to send you a couple of copies of my daily U.S. report, my weekly World Hide report. I certainly think it can help you. And if that's something of interest, we can certainly talk about a membership. So that's it for this week. Ken Maxwell, the Hide Guy. Until next week.